Hello everyone. Hello, welcome, and I'm Sian Shubudia. And yes, we are here at day 2 of your capturing those 40 marks to ensure that you are gaining those 40 marks. We are at day 2 of that series. Come on, everybody, give me your attendance and yes, tell me, am I audible? Am I visible? And are you retaining the yesterday's session, all of you? Just type it quickly in the chat box. And are we having the energy level super duper high? Great, great, great. Thank you, Sagar. Great. Very good. Fantastic. Okay, just a quick question. Did you all try the question that we did yesterday? Did you try on your own? And were you able to now do the question with like 100% crystal clarity and confidence? Do type in that. That's great. I want you all to be super high energy levels. Great. So now let's get up for day 2 and let's begin. We are taking past paper March, June 2024. Okay, so we are taking that paper. Now let's start solving that paper. You will do with me, and I would also highlight the examiner's report, the pointers that you should be understanding, that you should be, remembering, you should be taking care when you're writing your answers in the exam. So as per the examiner's report, what are the comments of the examiner? What are those pointers that you have to keep in mind? What are the don'ts that you have to ensure that you're not doing in the exam? Okay, and how would a question requirement make you earn full marks? We will understand everything of that for this past paper that we are discussing today. So all of you get up, now eyes on my screen, and let's start with past paper 2. Okay, so I have taken up this past paper, and this is you can see on the screen March June 24, and this is question number 1. So let's in detail let's take up this question, and then after we take up the question we will discuss the examiner report comments also on it. Now today I would be probably asking you to do some of the other calculations like you did last time also. So some involvement will be there, hence I want 100% focus on the screen. Abhi aankheं yahan se hatni nahi chahiye. Okay, it has to be like that, that 100% attention is here. You have any questions, anything, ask me in the chat box. Okay, yeah. Now let's begin with this. So we have this question, Venhost company. If you remember, the last paper also that we took had a service industry. So you will generally find in section C, service industry is a very popular topic. So whether it comes to 3 E's or any other criteria also, service industry becomes very, very important area. Well, even learning curve becomes an important area. And when we talk about service industry, hours calculation, hourly rates calculation, so all this becomes very important criteria. Okay, now let's read it. Now how we are going to read it, can somebody tell me in the chat box? One strategy that we understood in the last class, how should be a reading strategy, backward or forward? Let me see how much do you remember. When we are reading section C question, backward or forward? Absolutely, Sagar. Very good. So we call that backward reading because you are reading the requirements first and then going into the question. So awesome. Very good. So it has to be always requirements first. Okay, let's read the question. Venosp is an agency which supplies I'm sorry. So the requirement is number one. Question number A, part 1. Use least squares regression based on the quarterly data for 20x2 to 20x5 to calculate when HOSP's expected staff days in quarter 4. So this is, there are two things here. Number one, there is calculation involved. It is of 5 marks. Number two, you will have to round off your answer to the nearest full day. So you will not keep it in decimals. Number three, it is requiring your regression analysis. So this is probably a question on a regression or a correlation where you have formulas. And do I need to remember formula? No. I have the help sheet here. I will click formula sheet. So if it's okay if you don't remember formulas, don't panic. You have the formulas given here and you will use them. Okay. So we will use it that way. Now I know it's a question which is requiring me calculation as per the regression analysis. That means when I look at the formula sheet, I would be needing A, I would be needing B, I would be placing it in Y is equal to A plus BX, and probably I have to find out Y also. Okay, I have not read the case study, but this question is telling me the calculation will go like this. So this structure you should be framing in your mind so that it helps you, it relaxes you. Now let's read the question. Wherever it is needed, I would highlight that part also so that we don't need to read the entire portion again when it is needed to be read. Okay. Okay, just a minute. So it never happens. I don't know. Okay. Yes, I can also see that on my screen. Just 1 minute. I don't know why it is like this. Okay, just allow me a minute. I will just do it. Okay, this screen is blurry. Wait, I will just open it again. Sometimes small glitches are needed. So it is that glitch. I just hope that it is working. Is it clear now? Let me see. No, it is still blurry. Just a minute. Okay, allow me a minute. I will just do it on the screen. Just a minute. So sorry guys of this. Even I don't know why it has happened. So I'll just take it on another screen. Okay, now just tell me whether if you're still finding challenges, because I'm sure no, it should not be. I will just share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible now? And are you finding now it's okay? Yeah, just please somebody confirm me here. So sorry for this. No, that's okay. Is it okay now? Everybody, just type in quickly. I think it's better now. Okay, now let's continue here. Okay. I'll just cross verify it. Yeah. So I hope it's working fine now with everybody. I just cross verified it. That's all. Okay. Now I will just start this paper again. And let's do it here now, quickly. Thanks for telling me. Okay. Thank you for the technicalities, Sagar. Okay. So here we are. Today, what has happened? Okay. So now let's read the question and let's start solving it. It's been delayed. Now, Venhosp is an agency which supplies temporary staff. Okay, it is an agency that supplies temporary staff and providing catering and hospitality services for events at the stadium venues in D-Land. So now we know it's a service industry. It is providing catering services. It is providing the other services. Last time we had a hospital case. Here we have a hospitality case. Okay, so we are roaming around the same topics only in just that hospital and hospitality. Now, demand for Venov staff depends on the number of events taking place. So remember the question asked for staff days. So here we are discussing that. Okay. So now we can relate to the requirement of the question. Demand for Venov staff depends on the number of events taking place and whether a venue selects Venhos to supply staff for its events. As such, there is a strong correlation between the number of events taking place and the number of staff. So we have two variables here. One is probably X, which is number of events, and Y is number of staff. Why? Why I said it like that? Because on the basis of number of events, we will have number of staff. So Y is always a dependent variable. Hence Y, which is number of staff, is dependent on number of events. Clear? So this helps me to identify in the exam also what is X and what is variable Y. Now let's focus more. So now when I go back to that to this paragraph here, there is nothing as such that I have to highlight. So I will not highlight. There is intense competition between temporary staffing agencies in DLAN, and all the agencies charge similar rates for the staff they provide, and there is little scope for any change to increase the price that they charge a stadium for staff. So it's highly competitive market where increasing in price is really not very feasible. When Hobbs average charge out for its staff was 16, okay, it was 16 per hour. Now here in 2025, and that rate is expected to remain unchanged in 2026. That means the revenue what they are collecting from the events person is 16 per hour, and now we will see what are the expenses that they are incurring. Clear? So that will give us a fair idea about what is their revenue and what is their expense and what is their profits going to be. Venhosp is paying its staff at the rate 11.25 per hour. So they are receiving fees at the rate 16, but they are paying off to the employees at the rate 11.25 per hour. Per hour. And this is very important. On an average, they work 8 hours per event day. So in an event day, the staff is working 8 hours and they are being paid at 11.25 per hour. So staff day would be 8 hours multiplied by 11.25. That is the cost per staff day. Clear? They are only paid for the hours that they work. By law, staffing agencies in DLAN also have to make an additional contribution directly to the government at a rate of 10% of the amount they pay to their staff. So the amount of salary or the wages that they are paying to the staff cost, 10% of it is also their additional expense, like a contribution towards any scheme, right? The contributions. So this is also an additional expense for Venhosp. Clear? The legal minimum wage in D-land. The legal minimum wage in D-land is, now let's have a look. What is the legal minimum age? The legal minimum age in D-land is, the legal minimum wage in D-land was 10.5 per hour in 20x5, but this will increase to 11 and they are paying 11.25. That's very marginal only. Right. In the recent years, there has been a shortage of workers prepared to work as temporary staff in catering and hospitality services. Stop. What does this line tell us when I'm reading the question? That there is a shortage. That means if we pay more, probably they will come to us. Otherwise, it's highly competitive market, right? As was said above. So they will go to other players. I don't know what is the requirement of the question, but these thoughts are coming in my mind as a student and I will keep them, because when you, obviously every section C question will have a theory portion and will always have a question like on advantages, disadvantages, comment, discuss. There I can use this data. So you should have these thoughts also formulated. Okay. Now next, in recent years and all that, because the work is seen as physically demanding and relatively very poorly paid, Venhop's human resource director has suggested that the amount Venhop pays its staff should be increased to 11.75, from 11.25 to 11.75, but revenue is not increasing because it is highly competitive market. So your revenue is not increasing. So where is the pressure going then? Pressure is probably going on the profits then, because if we increase cost, revenue remains same, pressure is on profit. Now, the chief executive officer opposes the increase, saying it will reduce profits, but the HR director has argued that any decisions about pay rates need to take account of ethical issues and not just short-term financial ones. Okay. Venhosp produces quarterly forecast for its expected revenues and staff cost. These have already been produced for quarter 1 to 3 for 2006, but not yet for quarter 4. And we are asked in this question for quarter 4. Is there anything given to us about it? The total number of stadium events scheduled for quarter 4 are 114. Stop. we have to work out regression equation. A we can work out, B definitely we can work out. Then we need one of the variables, X or Y. Now this question has clearly told us the number of events is X, staff days is Y. Question made you asking you to calculate staff days. That means we have to work out Y. So if I know A, if I know X, which is given here 114, if I know B, then can we easily calculate Y? Yes, that's what the question is requiring. And remember one thing, the more in a section C question, they will never require you to work out X, Y, X square, Y square and all that separately. They generally give you the data because here you can see the weightage is only 5. If you were required to calculate, then the weightage would have been 10. Okay, so never be scared by these. In fact, they are the most easiest to do because you will have most of the data ready with you. You just have to put them in place. That's all. Okay, now again, let's continue. The CEO has asked you to prepare the forecast for quarter 4 20x6 using least squares regression to forecast the demand for staff days expected in the quarter and based on the current rates of pay. Okay, note a staff day constitutes one member of temporary staff being provided to a client for 1 day. 1 day means how many hours? Average 8 hours. Okay, so remember that in your mind. Now, let's do question number A1. So question A1 says use least square regression based on quarterly data for 2002 to 5, which is given here. You can see sum of x square, y square, xy, x, everything is given to you here. To calculate the Van Hoff's expected staff days in quarter 4. So we need to just work out y, x we have, a and b we can work out with this. So then we just need to work out y. Okay. If I want to look at my help sheet, just to be sure of the formula, I can look here. Y is equal to a plus bx. A will be calculated as sum of y upon n less b multiplied by sum of x upon n. Then b is n multiplied by sum of xy less sum of x sum of y divided by n multiplied by sum of x square less sum of x whole square. Correct? We know the formula. We will just take it down here and we just need the required data. X I have 114. What is n? I read it somewhere. N was also there. 16. Somewhere I read it. Yeah, this is based on a sample size of n, which is 16. So we have been given almost every data. Now we just have to put them at one place. That's all. Okay, now let's put them in one place. So now here, let's write down. Okay, so we are doing question A, part 1. Okay, we are doing question A part 1 and now let's do it further. So now we have to do the calculations. Now we know n, we know x, we can write it here. N is equal to n is equal to 16. Now you know x. So x is equal to 114. Okay, now we'll work out y. A. What is A formula? Please write it down. So A is equal to, here first write down the basic formula. Y is equal to, and you just have to do the calculations. Okay, so you don't have to write any stories, nothing, just simple calculate and deliver it. Y is equal to A plus bx, right? The basic formula. And A will be equal to, we have just discussed sum of y divided by n. So now I can write it here, sum of y divided by n. So I am not, if I am not able to find the sum formula, I can write sum also. sum of y divided by n less sum of, right, we're writing the formula, less b multiplied by, less b multiplied by sum of x divided by n. Right, I'm just writing the simple formula. Now let's just write the values here. What is sum of y? Sum of y. Y is what? Y is staff days. Number of staff days is given to you here 404410, or even you can write down everything and link it. Okay, so you can do it that way also. That is also fine. Okay, so whatever is convenient, you can do it. Right now, I'm not doing that because I'm taking it on tab, so it will be very difficult for me to do it that way. So I'm just doing it simply. I'm just putting in the values and we are doing the calculations. Okay, so we're doing that way. Now, if you have anything, you can ask me. Okay, so let's type it down. Now, what is sum of y? 4044. So I will write it in brackets. 404410 divided by, what is sum of n? What is n? 16. So we are done with the first part. Okay, bracket close, less bracket open, and we have b. B we have not calculated. Okay, so we need to calculate it. So I'll keep this formula here, and in the meantime I will work out b. Okay, now what is b? B is equal to, I'm so sorry Sagar, I'm not able to find that. So probably then I'll just use sum of only that formula. Okay, b is equal to sum of x. Okay, let's put, sorry, we are doing b. I'm sorry. So we have to do b. B is equal to n multiplied by sum of xy, right? N multiplied by sum of xy, and this, from this we will reduce sum of x multiplied by sum of y, right? All this we divide by, we will divide this numerator by n multiplied with sum of y square. So again, if you forget, you have everything. Okay, sum of y square less sum of y whole square. Sum of, I'm sorry, sum of x square. So sorry. Sum of x square less sum of x whole square. Sum of x whole square. Okay, now let's work out b. So b will be equal to, my friends, n is 16. Now let's have the values at one place. So I will just put it in the bracket, 16 multiplied with, now what is sum of xy is given to you here, 45496,648. Figures are given to you. Okay, bracket close, less Okay, this is less. I'm sorry. Let's get the values here. Less sum of x multiplied by sum of y, which is 1757 multiplied by 404410. Okay, so that is 1757 multiplied by 404410. Done. We are done with the numerator. We're done with the numerator. Now this divided by, again brackets open, we have n, which is 16, multiplied with sum of x square, right? And 16 multiplied by sum of x square, which is given here 196615. 196615, and bracket close. And again from this I will reduce 1757 is x, so x whole square. Okay, so I will reduce here 1757 to the power 2. Done with everything, and I get my B as 295.93. Okay, now I will use it in A, and it is 295.93. Please remember. So we have worked out here till this point. So we did this, we did sum of y by n, and now from this I will reduce b multiplied with, so again I will open the brackets and I will write b, which is 295.93, right? 295.93 multiplied with, what is the formula? B multiplied by sum of x. So that we already know, 1757. That is already remembered, right? 1757. And this divided by n, which is 16. So now I will close the brackets. Everything is done. And I get the value as just a minute. I did this correctly. So scribite is coming negative. Just a minute. No, sorry, it is correct only. Yeah, so it is 7221.19. Clear? Now we have got A, we have got B, we know X is 114. Now let's quickly work out Y. Yes, it is mandatory to write formulas. Okay? It is mandatory to write formula. That's all. You can write sigma, you can write sum of also. I mean, whatever is convenient. That's okay. Because they mean the same thing only. Okay. So now, yes, we have done this. We have got A, we have got B, we have got X. Now, let's quickly work out Y. So, what is Y equal to? This is for 5 marks, guys. So, you need to do the steps. Right? What is Y equal to? Now, Y will be equal to, write the formula A plus BX. And A is equal to 7221.2. So, we'll have 7221.2 plus, in brackets, I will write plus B. B is 295.93 multiplied by X, which is 114. So this is how I will get my answer. So I will just do the calculation here. 7221.2. And remember, you have to take it in the round of figures, the staff days. So that is something that we need to remember. Okay, with this, we will add 295.93 multiplied by 114. Right, so I get here 40 minus, I'm so sorry, it is minus 7.2. A is coming negative, no? It is minus. So here also minus. So it is coming as 26514.8 days, but we need to convert it into the round of figures. Of course, it is 0.8. So you will write here that this is so, which is equal to, okay, which is equal to 26515 staff days. Done. So we are done our first part, and which has given us 5 marks. Straight away 5 marks has been given to us. It is easy to score. You just have to put these in the formula. So we even have to write the step of substitution of the amount. Yes, we have to. See, it is a 5 marker. You need the steps. You need the steps. You cannot just write directly. Yes, what you can avoid is, see here I've given no extra step. I've given X, I've given Y formula, I've given the original formula and then the substitution, original formula and the substitution. So you need to show it. And remember people, you have to show the substitution in the Excel cell by way of a formula. You cannot write it in, you cannot just do it on calculators and type in. Why? You need to write amount. You need to work out what is A. You need to work out what is B. It is not MCQ Shalu that you will just give the final answer. It is step marking. Okay, I will give you a breakup how you will get 5 marks here. 1 mark for correctly given A along with formula. Half mark for formula which you are exactly copying but just working it out. Okay. 1 mark for A, 1 mark for B, 1 mark for working out Y, and 1 mark for X and N that you have shown, and another 1 mark for rounding off. Okay, now one of the reasons why you would be writing the formula, even if it is there in the help box, so that there are very less chances of you going wrong. If you are constantly looking at help box, it may just go wrong and it will waste so much of time. You may just forget the formula. Like for example here, minus 7221 was there. The moment I typed in, yeah, I realized, yes, I have not given minus. But if it was not there as a formula, I may have done error. I may have presumed A cannot be negative, and that would have, taken my marks. So it's better to write it here. Okay, let's go to the B part. The second part of the question now says that assume that your answer to A1 has given you a figure of 30,000. Now just forget what you have calculated. A2 is saying forget what you have calculated in A1. Let's say your final staff days that you have worked out, your Y is 30,000. Based on this figure, please calculate what is Venhop's forecast revenue, staff cost and gross profit. So we have to work out revenue, cost and gross profit. Now before you work out, please frame picture in your mind. Revenue, how would you calculate? You know your revenue is 16 per hour multiplied by 8 days multiplied by staff days, correct? Staff days you will take 30,000. You will get revenue. How will you get cost? Your cost is 11.25. Okay. The cost is 11.25 that we have read somewhere. Yeah, it is 11.25. So we'll take 11.25 and the same calculation, but there is an additional 10% contribution also, don't forget that. You adjust everything and you get your gross profits. Clear? So please do it this way. Let's do it here. So let's write B, A2. Okay, let's write A2. So now A2 I will work out. First let's calculate revenue. Now here you don't need to write anything in the formula. You can just anything in the brackets. You can directly type it in the Excel. Okay, so revenue will be, now the figures are in dollars. So please insert dollar sign. You have here symbols. You will select dollar, insert. Okay, is it mandatory, ma'am, to select? Yes, of course it is mandatory. You need to select your currency mandatorily. Okay, it's not that you have a negative marking, but I think it's good to add it to the presentation. It's all a part of the presentation of your answer. Okay, so now let's write revenue. What is my revenue going to be? Like we discussed, 8 hours, 11.25 was the rate, and we are taking staff days as 30,000. Done. So easy calculation, done. Let's move on to the next one. And the next part of the question you will be doing. Okay. 16 per hour. My revenue was 16, cost was 11.25. Right. So now 16. Now let's do the cost. Cost I had already worked out in the formula, right? The same way. So less staff cost. So staff cost is, you know it guys, the same way that we worked out. So it will be 8 equals to 8 multiplied by 11.25. For 8 is the number of hours in a day. 11.25 is the rate per hour of the labor that they are paying currently, and multiplied by 30,000, which is given into the question as a staff days. Now here we have to take the 10% also. So I will take the 10% also here. Okay. Less 10% of the staff cost. So should I use the formula? Yes, you should be using the formula. Equals to this. Ideally, you should be linking it. I'm not able to link it here. So I will just directly write the values. 270,000. Okay, 2,700,000 multiplied by 10%. I get here 270,000. You've got everything. Reduce it and get your gross profit. So your gross profit is equal to 384,000 less 27,000. So 2,700,000 and less 270,000. So how much I'm getting my gross profit as 870,000. Difficult to calculate. Tell me guys quickly. And you know what is the marks here? Just check what is the marks here for this part. For this part of the question, my marks are 4. How? 1 marks for revenue, 1 for staff cost, 1 for 10%, 1 for gross profit. Easy to score, right? You have till now you have scored 9 marks comfortably with the calculation. Next, 2 marker. 2 marker is calculate the correlation of the coefficient between the total number of events. Now this I think you can do the calculations again. I will guide you how to do it. It's just a 2 marker. You know the formula, and so formula is already given in this formula sheet. The correlation coefficient question is asking n multiplied by sum of xy, which is given to you, less sum of x sum of y given to you, divided by square root of n multiplied by sum of x square given to you, less sum of x whole square. This is also given to you. Multiplied by sum of y square, which is again given to you, n multiplied by sum of y square, less sum of y whole square. All of this data is given to you, and just like any of the simple question, you just have to work it out. Now I'll put my screen here. Guys, can you calculate it quickly and tell me what is correlation coefficient? Insert the formula, do the calculation and type it quickly in the chat box. Because I just want to see your calculation speed, how well you are able to calculate and apply the formula. Many students have calculation errors. That should not be there. Do it quickly and tell me. I know it is easy, right? Do it quickly and tell me in the chat box quickly. What is R? Correlation coefficient. If you need the help, this is the formula, guys. So I'll keep it like this. You can see the formula as well. Though it is very minimized, but I think you can see the formula, right? Do it quickly, the calculation, and tell me what is R, correlation coefficient. Let's see who can do it accurately. Not a competition, not at all a competition. Try to do it, but at the good speed. Okay? Possible, do it on Excel, because you will be doing it on Excel in the exam. So you will know how to insert formula in the exam. Okay, don't do it on paper and pen. Don't do it with calculator, which I'm sure many of you may be doing. Please do it on Excel if it is possible. Work it out quickly. Waiting. Nobody has been able to calculate it. Quickly. Okay, so Vedika has given me one answer. Let's cross check it. Anybody else has been able to calculate? So that would be a good cross check. Do it quickly, guys. We need speed in exam. I just need one more answer to cross check, and then we will move forward. Let's have one more answer quickly. So should I go ahead with Vedika's answer only then? Shalu, Sagar, Sakshi, Sahitya. Swapna. It is probably one of the easiest part that you will get in exam. Anybody else giving me? Okay. So far I'm going ahead with R is equal to 0.8, but do type it in the chat box if you're getting the same answer or not. Or if it is a different answer also, please put that. Okay, let's move forward. So we have covered 9 plus 2, 11 marks so far. Now let's do the next part of the question. Okay, so we have covered 11 marks. Okay, so I'm taking forward. Now the B part of the question says briefly discuss the limitations of regression analysis. And that's a very general question. And what does it say? Briefly discuss. Why is the term briefly given to you? The term briefly is given to you so as to indicate that you don't have to elaborate this answer a lot. Okay, very good, Shalu. Thank you for validating, but I need you to increase your speed. Okay, everybody, I need you to increase your speed. Formula is there with you, question data is given to you, then it should not take so much of time. Okay, anyways, let's proceed. So the question is asking you, give the 3 limitations of regression analysis. Can you give me the 3 limitations, guys? Let's have one by one answering. 1 point. What is the first point? What is the first point? What is the inherent limitation of regression analysis that we study always? By default, which is the limitation? Just type in quickly. You just have to give pointers. That's all. You don't have to elaborate the answer. It's just brief. 1 mark for each point. So you don't have to really write point length in length the part. You just have to write one line and that's okay. Okay, so let's discuss it. Ma'am, what are the limitations of regression analysis? Number one, by default, regression analysis, very good Vedika, gives me an inherent limitation that the relationship is linear. Very good. Who gave me this answer? Sagar. Sagar and Vedika, perfectly correct. By default, the first inherent limitation is it assumes linear relationships. That means both the variables x and y. You will write this also. You will not just write inherent limit, the linear relationship. 1 marks means you have to write one line more about it. So you will write it assumes linear relationship, and that means that the two variables are linearly correlated, are having a linear relationship, both dependent and independent variable, which means that a change in one variable will bring in a similar way the change in another variable. However, in reality, the relationship generally is not linear. You will write this, that why it is a limitation. Okay, you have to give also that point. Second, what is the second limitation that we can have? Very good, Sagar. Extrapolation issue, fantastic. The regression analysis, when we construct with the least squares method, we always construct this with a limited range of figures and the data, and based on which is the past data. Based on this, predictions are made about the future, and if that prediction about the data is outside this data range, which we call as extrapolation, then the relationship that is created may not be holding true, because it is outside the data range of the sets based on which the linear relationship was created. Okay, so forecasting can be distorted. Very good. 2 points we are done. Third one. Can anybody give me the third line, the last pointer? And I hope you're understanding how much we have to write, a bit more. Third and the last pointer, I think, which is a very general point again, is that, we here assume that there are only two variables, y and x. And at a time, we only take the relationship between two variables, that y is a dependent variable and it is dependent on one independent variable. But practically, we can have y depending on multiple variables. So that scenario is not explained in the regression analysis. Done. So any three I have taken. If you want, you can take other three also. I mean, you can take any, but just three you have to write and not more than this. Done. You grabbed your 11 plus 3. Very good, Vedika. 11 plus 3, you have grabbed your 14 marks. Now you need 6 marks more. So let's take the question. Now let's take, it is divided into two parts, 4 and 2. Let's see the 4 marker. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not 4. It is divided into 6 only. I just thought of previous one. Okay. Now the 6 marker says, discuss 3 factors. Now I want your attention. On above also we discussed 3. Here also we discussed 3. But it mentioned there briefly discussed. So just a heading and one liner about it would do. Here briefly discuss, small, here we have to discuss every pointer for 2 marks. You have to give small paragraph about every pointer. That's mandatory. Okay. So discuss 3 factors the board should consider when deciding whether to increase the hourly rate from 11.25 to 11.75 as the HR director has suggested. Now, first analysis, what you can give here is that you can do in the calculations and then present. So what is that analysis that we can do? Very good, Sagar. Yes, that can also do. Like sample size is limited. The last pointer that you gave. So, like I said, you can give any point because of the limitation in sample size. We can always have distorted figures. Yes, this is a valid point. Now, coming back to this question, you can always do one calculation here. And first analysis point that we can discuss is from the point of view of what will be the fall in profit. So you can give the heading fall in gross profit as a result of increase in the wage rate. So if we increase the wage rate by zero point 0.5 here, 11.25 to 11.75, the wage rate is 0.5. So do the revised calculations like we did in the last case. We did the calculations with 11.25 worked out gross profit. Now you do revised calculation with 11.75. You will see a fall in profit. Why? Because revenue cannot increase. So that is stick at 16. If your cost increase, your profit will reduce. So this is first point that you will give. By going into the financial analysis of this, due to the increase in zero point 0.5 when revenue cannot be increased, and take the points from the question, don't run your brains much. You can take points from the question which says that it is a highly competitive market between temporary staffing agencies in D-land, due to which all agencies that charge similar rates, hence increasing the revenue is not possible, so the pressure is on profit. You will write that. Okay, and due to the pressure on the profits will reduce by that figure that you will calculate and write. Clear? Done. 1 point that you have done with calculations, 2 marks you got. Second, there is one more area that is discussed by the CEO. HR director suggested that this is the increase that should be done. And why it is to be done? Because on the moral grounds, right? On the moral grounds. So you will highlight that. You will highlight that the HR director's suggestion on moral ground is required, as why you can correlate here that the minimum wages have gone from 10.5 to 11, which shows that probably in general the inflation has gone up. So this requires a change in the wage rates also. So on moral grounds, this can be done by foregoing a part of the profit. You will write that. Okay. One more point is coming into my mind which says that the third one. The third one can be, it is given here that yeah, there has been a shortage of workers. Write that in your answering. As per the case study, there is a shortage of workers prepared to work as temporary staff in catering and hospitality services. Okay, catering and hospitality services. And due to which, right, due to which, see it is given here, due to which the work is seen very poorly paid. The work is seen as physically demanding and relatively poorly paid. So this you will take as a third one, that if we pay higher charges, since the market is so competitive and the staff is shortage in supply, if we pay higher price, that we discussed while reading the question also, right? We can have a competitive edge, and the staff which is in short supply would be working for us rather than for the competitors. 3 points done. Discuss them with small paragraph, done, and you got 6 on 6. Okay, any questions, any queries here? We are done with the 20 marker, and tell me if it was challenging, you found any questions, queries, any difficulties here. Okay, now let's move forward. Okay, now I will just show you the examiner report. Let's have a look at the examiner report so that we know what is the examiner looking at. Just 1 minute. No worries, I will show you from here. Okay, we'll do the question, the next one, and then we'll discuss the examiners. Okay, I will just. Okay, let's do this question then. So now we are done with the 20 marker. Now let's go and let's discuss the next one. If you have any questions and queries, you can ask in the chat box. Feel free to ask me, guys. Yes, absolutely correct, Sagar. Absolutely correct. That's what we discussed. So I will take you to the examiner report also after we discuss the questions. Okay. And both the exam for both the questions, we will see the examiner report. Some comments that are given by examiner that you need to keep in mind whenever you're writing any section C questions, and some pointers that you have to avoid. All that we will cover. So let's first discuss the next question. Now, very interesting question again it is, and that is Caroline Company question. Okay, now this is a question on transfer pricing. So let's discuss this question here. Okay, and we will have the transfer pricing question. Now, many times students ask me that ma'am, in these 40 marks, actually which topics do you think are important? See, I would always say that you have to cover every topic because it can come from anywhere in the syllabus. But the topics like CVP, the topics like this transfer pricing, topics like balance scorecard, building block model, budgeting, like the last topic that we saw, the budgeting and the control section. So you find these topics to be frequently asked in the exam. I mean, they are almost there in every paper, but that doesn't mean that the other topics are not asked. ROI and RI are also very popularly asked. In fact, right, they are always there also as a testing point. So the point is, please make sure that you don't leave any topic. Any topic you have, don't leave it because that can be there as a part of the questions. Okay. Now, transfer pricing, you all know, is one of the most popular topics that is very regularly asked also in the exam. Okay, very regularly asked. So let's discuss this question, and I'm sure then we will have more clarity on this topic as well. Okay, so let's discuss this. Now, let's do the first one. Prepare, again, we'll do backwards. We know that we always read backwards. We'll do it that way only. And read the question. Prepare a profit statement for each of the two divisions for Caroline Company as a whole under the current transfer pricing arrangements. Your sales and cost figures should be split into external sales and interdivisional transfers wherever appropriate. So here you will have interdivisional sales, you will have external sales, and the question requires that you have to be absolutely clear and about this, the details in your answering. Now, when I show you the examiner report, it is a comment by the examiner that tells that major students in this question, they lost marks because they did not clearly differentiate, or they did not clearly show the breakup between the external sales and the internal sales. So we need to make sure that we are not having this, what do you call, confusion. In our answering, we have to make sure that we are very clearly showing this. Okay. Just a minute. What happened to the screen? Just tell me, please, is my screen clear? Suddenly, just seeing some lag. Guys, just put it in the chat box. Is the screen clear now? Somebody please put it in the chat box quickly. Okay. Just one more time, I'll just check with you. Just one more time. Okay. Is it clear now also? Right? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So now let's work it out. If you find any kind of lags, just put it in the chat box immediately. So now let's solve it here. So it says that prepare the profit statement. So now let's prepare it and let's solve it here. Now, the question A says prepare a profit statement for each of the two divisions and for Carolyn as a whole. That means how many columns we need? We need two divisions, so two columns, and Carolyn, third column. Okay, make sure that you are not doing two divisions and at the end you are totaling. You will lose marks. You need a column for Carolyn also, so you will add for Carolyn as well. Okay, very important for you to do this. Okay, now let's do this here. Let's do the calculations and I want your eyes on my screen only. Now let's see the data. Okay, we'll see the data here. Carolyn Company is a decentralized company which manufactures and sells radios. It has two divisions, the radio division and which manufactures radios, and the packaging division that produces boxes in which the radios are packaged. Okay, so they produce boxes in which the radios are packaged, and then we have a packaging division, radio division. It says that packaging division has no external market for boxes. Very important. So packaging division has no external market for boxes. That means if it doesn't sell to radios and this product will be shut down. Okay, if it doesn't sell to radios. So this is a very important pointer here. Now let's go to the next one. Always take a pause and you can highlight like this also when you're doing your questions. Now, the expected cost and volume of two division, the expected cost and volume of sales of the two divisions are given to you. So the market price per unit, variable cost per unit for both packaging and radio, annual fixed cost in totality, annual sales, all that is given to you here. The current transfer price is also given to you, that the current transfer price is based on the full cost of a box and what is the current market price and markup of 20%. So very important, here we are following full cost plus markup pricing, right? Now the next one, recently an external packaging company has offered to supply. Now what have they offered? They have offered to supply the radio division with boxes of the same specification as produced by the packaging division. So they are following, they are allowing, or they are basically offering that we will give you the same boxes that is packaged by the packaging division, and at what price? At 4 per box. Very important. This is the price which is very important, because we will see probably in this question that what is the price that is coming for packaging. Right? The questions are always like this only that are created. Now, the manager of the radio division has proposed two alternatives. Now, what are the two alternatives that they have proposed in response to this offer? Number one, the packaging division should be asked to reduce the transfer price on the boxes to 4 per box to make it market competitive, and only if it is meeting, then they would probably continue with this offer. and they will continue to buy from the packaging division. Otherwise, number 2, if the packaging division is not prepared to match the external supplier price, then it should be closed and all boxes required should be purchased externally. So it's a typical example of the transfer pricing case where we have to see whether we should, buy it from the packaging department or buy it from externally. But whatever we do, please remember one point: whenever you're doing these kind of questions, you have to make sure that you are looking from the company point of view and not individual divisions point of view. Very, very crucial. So we'll look from Caroline point of view and not division packaging or division radio. Okay, now going further, the packaging division's fixed cost, they relate mainly to long-term lease payments, and only 20,000 per year of the fixed cost could be avoided if it is closed. So if it is closed, then 20,000 of the fixed cost will be avoided. Okay, remember the savings. Now let's do the first part of the question. So first part of the question is that prepare a profit statement for each of the two divisions under the current transfer pricing. We are not expecting the change. Whatever is the current pricing levels, just do that. So I will write here question A. Okay, question A. I will write here A part. And I will write here profit statement for radio, packaging divisions and Caroline Company. Okay, and Caroline Company, we will mention it. As a whole. Okay, under current transfer price arrangements. Okay, now please look here. So we are writing here all the details. I will write here radio. I will write here packaging. And make sure that you are writing one more column for Caroline. You will not take the totals at the end and then write it. If you don't do a presentation like this, you will lose marks. It's 6 marker. So you will take 2 marks each. Okay, it's a 6 marker. 2 marks for each of the columns. Now you please write here first. So we have to write sales and we will divide it, internal and external. We have to show this division also in the answering as is required in the question. Okay. You have anything to ask, you can put it in the chat box freely, my friends. Okay. So I will write here sales. I will underline it and I will write here external and internal. Likewise, you will write for variable cost also. See, what I generally recommend is to prepare the performer always, okay, and then write your answer. I'll tell you a reason for the same. The question here says prepare. It is an examiner comment, people. If the question mentions prepare, that means you will be awarded marks if you write your answer in the correct performer. If you are just calculating, you will not get full marks. If you want full marks, it has to be in the correct performer. All 3 divisions in 3 columns, sales breakup, variable cost breakup has to be there. Otherwise, even if you're correct, you will not be awarded with full marks. Okay. So please ensure you remember this as a quick tip and as a very important point for your exams. Now let's go further. So I will just prepare the performer like I said. So I prepared for sales. Now let's do for variable cost. So here we have variable cost. Again underline and internal. Just that. Actually variable cost, I will keep it like this and I will write internal cost. The breakup, otherwise it's not going properly. Okay, now the next one, fixed cost, because we need to talk about the profits, right? So next is fixed cost. Oh, but we will have to write contribution also, because after variable cost in the performer comes contribution, right? And then fixed cost, and then profit. So I prepared the performer. Now it becomes very easy for you to type in. Right now, what is the external sales? Just see here, radio division is 220, price per unit, number of units are 20,000. So here for radio, I can write 220 into 20,000. Done. You can mention the signs here also. I've taken the shortcut key for taking the dollars. So you can also do that in the exam. For dollars, it is doable. Okay. Now, let's go to the next one. So now here we have external sales of radio. For packaging, there is no external sales. And for Caroline, you will show the sum of external sales. Mind, guys, one thing please remember. When it comes to company, no, we never add internal sales or internal cost because they got cancelled off like contra entries. So make sure you don't add it, otherwise you will lose marks. Okay, now let's do the internal sale. Internal sale is by packaging, right? So packaging is making a sale of what? Let's calculate. So you have here packaging is selling at full cost plus margin. So we need to do it in the working note here. What is the full cost plus margin? Working note, calculation of transfer price from packaging to radio, right? So here we have, what is full cost? Full cost is, variable cost is given to you 1 for packaging here. Then we have annual fixed cost is 80,000. So can we take per unit? We can take per unit here. So that will be 80,000 divided by 20,000. So we here have 5 is the full cost. And what is margin? Margin is 20% given to you. So that will be equal to okay, that you can add this multiplied by 20%. So now the transfer price will be this plus this. Okay, 6. Now you can do it here. So your internal sales here will be 6 multiplied by 20,000, which is 120,000. Clear? Done. Now we can get the variable cost. What is the variable cost for radio? 120. So 120 multiplied by 20,000. Done. Right? Now this internal cost, same will be internal cost. What is the selling price? Because that is the price at which radio is buying. So that is internal cost. What is the variable cost for packaging? 1 per unit. So that is 1 multiplied by 20,000. I will just insert the reduction sign, the less sign, because it's a cost. Okay, done. Now let's take the contribution. So please take a sum and contribution will be there. Okay, now here I have not taken the formula. Now please remember guys, when I'm doing this, I will not add interdivisional sales and cost with Carolyn. Right? You know it why? Because that's a company, and for company, these gets cancelled off as a whole. So it will not form part of that sales or cost. Here I will just take the sum. Right? Okay. And here I will get the total then accordingly. Okay, done. Now let's reduce the fixed cost. So for radio, the fixed cost is 500,000, reduce it. And for packaging, it is 80,000, reduce it. Okay, and get the total here also. Very essential. Now get the profit. So profit will be this minus this minus this, and this minus this. right? So here it shows that the basic baseline is same 1400,000, which is matching. So you do this way, you do the working this way, you present your answer this way, because the question says prepare. So you do it this way, you get your 6 on 6. No marks deducted, full marks you will get, full marks. Okay, now let's take the next part. Anywhere you have doubts, put it in the chat box. I hope I'm clear. I hope everybody is having the clarity. Okay, let's take the next part. The next part is for 4 marker. Calculate the effect on the profits of each division and Carolyn as a whole if the transfer price is 4 per box. Now everything is same, but if we have a transfer price of 4 per box, then what is the effect? So what I will do, I will just copy everything. Okay, I will copy everything and I will just put it there. So only few changes done, and you can also do that way in the exam. So here you will write B1 and calculation of profits at transfer price equal to $4. Okay, that's all. So just copy it, paste it, make the relevant changes, and you will get your 4 marks in like 2 minutes. Because everything else is same. Only the internal transfers will change. So here radios external sale is same. It cannot change, right? But internal sales, now instead of having at 6, we will have it at 4. Okay, likewise here, instead of having it at, yeah, the same values will be here. And now what do you see here? There is no other change. So you do this and you got your 4 marks. Do I need to type again? No. And don't be troubled by the fact, oh, I did nothing, but still I can directly get 4 marks like this. Absolutely, yes. Don't be troubled. Absolutely, yes, you can get it. Okay? Yes. So you got your 4 marks in like what? 1 minute? Yes. Okay, because you did your performer correct, you will get your marks here as well. But just look at the change in the question, guys. The question B says to calculate. It never asked you to prepare. That means you just have to put the things in the calculation part and give this answer. Then that means even if the Carolyn part is not there in the column and you have just added at the end, like you have just shown 1400,000 and not the above figures, you will still get marks because you're showing the calculation. When it says prepare, then performer is marked. When you say calculations, only calculations are marked. Okay, clear? Done? Yeah, let's move on to the next one. So let's go to the third part, the B part. Again, 4 marker. Calculate the effect on the profit of Carolyn Company as a whole if the packaging division is closed and all boxes are purchased externally. Now the same calculation, but packaging is closed. So we will not show packaging, but we will show packaging. There will be fixed cost involved because the question mentioned only 20,000 saving in fixed cost, right? But the remaining fixed cost then it's needed to be incurred. So that will be a cost for Carolyn also, correct? Again, here we need calculation. So here we'll do calculations, but we will not show internal transfers. There is no internal transfer. It will just be added to the variable cost of radio as it will buy externally at 4. Okay, so do the same calculations, write the same performer, and we will make the changes wherever it is needed. Okay, so I will write here, if purchases externally at $4. Again, the same calculation, same performer, just few changes. So just look at my screen. Okay, now here when you do, your external sales will remain like this, but there will be no internal sales. So I will remove internal sales from here. There is no internal sales. When we go to a variable cost, it will be same variable cost. And here also it is same. because it is a $4 only. So you can do it also. 4 multiplied by 20,000. But the only difference is you will not have it as internal. You will write it as external external buying cost. Okay, external buying cost. So here again you will get your profits as 1420 only, no change. But here what is the loss? Do we have any variable cost? No, the division is shut down. But do we have any contribution? No. Do we have any fixed cost? Yes. Because the specific fixed cost which is getting saved is only 20. So if the total fixed cost it had was 80, we will just add 20 the saving. It still has 60,000. So that means this 60,000 will reduce the overall profits of the entity. And what do you find here? After reduction, okay, what do you find here? After reduction, the profit has reduced to 1360,000. And what was the profit earlier? Even when it was purchased internally at $4 was 1400,000. What was the profit earlier at $6? It was again at 1400,000 because internal transfers don't affect your carrying. I mean, as a whole. So the profits never got affected and reduced. But the moment you buy from external parties, now it becomes your variable cost, and that will be cost for the company as a whole, and so it becomes a cost. And now this cost is something that affects the organization and profit is reduced here, right? Following everybody? Come on. I hope your energy levels are maintained, guys. Yes, you are there. I hope you are enjoying the session. Enjoying? Yes or no? Enjoying? Because I'm enjoying with all of you. Come on, show me your energy levels, guys. Thank you, Shalu. Thank you. And keep your energy levels high, okay? Now, again, let's resume. Let's go back. So here we have a reduction in the profits. Now just see, just in 15 minutes, 15 minutes only, how much we covered the marks. We covered 6 plus 4 plus 4, 14 marks in only 15 minutes. Why? Because you made your first performer correct. So you just do one hard work and rest of the things follow. You just do hard work in these 10 days and your life is sorted for PM. Okay, trust me. Yeah, now let's go forward to the next one. When I go to the next question, it clearly asked me number 1. Only one question is left for 6 marks. What is it? Discuss the advantages and disadvantages to Carolyn of using a transfer price of $4. So let's talk about this, and it is how much? 6 marks, 2 marks for each of the pointers. Number 1, let's talk about, so I will write here the advantages and disadvantages are as follows. Number 1, what is the advantage? The advantage would be if we follow, okay, one very important point. Yes, I want to highlight. I will show you that also in the examiner report. Okay. Now I will show you that in the examiner report also. Guys, one common mistake by the students that they did in this question is what is written here. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages to Carolyn Company of using a transfer price. It is not written external price. It is written transfer price. So here in this point, we are still taking a transfer between radio and packaging. common mistake done by the students. They read this question, but how they attempted was they did all the advantages and disadvantages from the point of view of external supplier, right? So this pointer that it is a transfer price is very important to tell you that here we are still considering that second part of the answering, right, where we did the transfer pricing 4 and the profit remains same, that part. Okay, be very clear. So read the question very carefully. Now, what are the advantages or disadvantages of using this transfer price? I think the best advantage is that this price is market driven. Market driven price, so is justifiable and should be acceptable to both the divisions. Okay. Now let's say I don't want to elaborate it much. You can write more. Okay. Now you can write it in this continuity also. However, since at $4 transfer price, packaging division is having a loss, so it may not be acceptable to the division, but from Carolyn as a whole, it is a better option than opting for external supplier at $4 as the profit is not reduced clear. So I did my first pointer correct. I got my 2 marks. Let's talk about the second one. Can you think about any other point? People, last question. So can you think about any other point? Quickly type in any other point that you can think of. First I gave you, that was very instant to me, that the reason. Another point that you can think of is, quickly, and don't leave the session, be there till the end. We will discuss quickly the examiner reports points also. Okay, let's discuss the second one. The second one can be, I think, which is coming again, a very obvious point, that even if going ahead with $4 pricing, the radio division will be able to, will be able to make a better choice rather than it being imposed by the management. So they would be happy to buy it internally, right? Rather than shutting it, rather than going for the external suppliers. And see, from Carolyn point of view, its internal capacities of packaging division will be used. Okay, so the control and quality of the product would be within the control of Carolyn company. Right? So done. You wrote your 3 points and you will get your marks. Any confusions anywhere? Benefits to radio division 2 per unit. Yes, yes, yes. That's what. Very good point, Sahitya. Radio division would be ready to buy because it is having a savings, right? And from the Caroline point of view, the profit is not falling. So it doesn't need to go and take from the external supplier. It can buy it internally also. Okay, very good point. Okay, any other point that is coming to your mind? Okay, then in that case, I think let's quickly take up the examiner's report and I'll just open examiner's report. Okay, and just don't go anywhere. We'll have a look at it so that you will not make the same mistake again and again. And in case if you have not gone through any of the examiner's report, then I suggest you should. Okay, very important, you should. Okay, I will just share my screen and I will show you the relevant areas where I want your focus to be there for examiner's report. Tell me if it is not visible to you, then please tell me that. Okay, you have any questions in the meantime, please put it in the chat box. Anything that you did not understand in this question, please put it in the chat box. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to everybody. In case if not, please tell me. Okay, now let's quickly look at the examiner's report. If you have anything, please ask me in the chat box. What happened? Just 1 minute. Just a minute, guys. Just 1 minute. Give me this. Yeah. No, it's fine. Okay. Right, so I hope now the screen is visible to everyone. Okay, now just look at my screen and I will just show you something very, very relevant to you. Very relevant. Now, this is the examiner report. Now, when we take it more forward and let's go to section C and let's just see the comments of the questions that we have done. So you will know the kind of errors that students do, the kind of expectations that examiners carry. Now, when it comes to section C, let's say in this Venhorst question, now I will just take the relevant areas. Like we did B part of a question where we did the question with 30,000 units. So there was no need for the prior knowledge to be there. Okay, there was no need for prior knowledge to be there for the linear equation. So don't be confused that I have to do the 30,000 calculations and I have to take the backup of the question, because some students got confused when they got 30,000 as the data and they tried to do some calculations of y is equal to ax, bx calculation. So don't do that. It was a direct pointer given to you. Okay, now it is a direct examiner's team comments that you should be using your formulas in the spreadsheet software. You should not use calculators in section C. Now, few more important points to note here was, Like I gave you this pointer. When the question says prepare, when the question says prepare, what you are doing is you are going to, this question says prepare means you will prepare it in the perfect performer and you will not simply calculate, because presentation of this answer is very important. Your examiner has written it, so we need to follow it in every question that you find. Okay, where it is not properly written as calculation, then you will ensure that your performer is perfect. Now the next one, like here it is mentioned, how should a profit statement be presented? A profit statement should provide the sales revenue, variable cost, fixed cost, and profit. And this is a mandatory part that should be there in profit statement. There should be the totals and not on a per unit basis. Remember, per unit we only do when we are preparing a cost sheet. When you are not preparing a cost sheet, when you're not calculating, like costing for a product, you will never calculate per unit, you will always do in totality. So the best thing is to be very clear with what is the requirement of the question, and then you will solve it. So read the question very carefully. As a third point, I'm reading it out, that we have all followed it. Now these were examiner team's comments that students failed to follow and so they lost their marks. So look here, as a full profit statement is required for all three, Caroline and the two divisions. The best approach to this would be to present a profit statement with a column each for both the divisions and Caroline company. Now again, this is again one of the very important pointers, point number 5th. Split the external sales and interdivisional sales. It simply said that the full transfer price of 120,000 that is received from the packaging department was an internal sale. Don't club it with the external sales. Don't club it with the external sales, very important. So a good response provided got full marks, and the responses to this requirement, look at the examiner team comment, the responses to this requirement were generally good, with most of the candidates calculating correct transfer price and profit generated by two divisions. The main source where the marks were lost was not following the requirement to prepare a profit statement with interdivisional and external sales and cost, which was a requirement given to you in the question. Since it was not being followed, so some students, some candidates, even though you did it all correct, you lost your marks. So why we're discussing here is so that you don't lose these marks. Some of the common mistakes was including interdivisional transfers with external sales and cost, stating Caroline's profit as the total of the two divisions without preparing a profit statement, all this, and using a per unit basis in the calculations. These were the common mistake done by the students, which of course I know you are getting also, it's conceptually wrong. So you have to just read the question in the perfect way. Also, using an incorrect profit statement was one of the biggest reasons. Next. So next is the next question that we had. The Caroline company question. Okay, look here. In this paragraph, advantages for divisions and Caroline company would each gain credit here. Many candidates were able to provide one or two disadvantages. They needed to be discussed in order to gain marks. If the moment you see that a particular point is for 2 marks or 3 marks, you need to discuss it. Discuss means in detail explain. You are not required to conclude. You are just required to discuss in detail. Okay? A simple statement of an advantage will not give you any marks. You will get 0 even if you are correct. So in order to gain marks, you need to write your answers in small paragraphs along with detailed descriptions, and that is mandatory. Now, just one more point. Many candidates were able to gain 2 or 3 marks from this part. The main error in candidates' responses was to incorrectly assume, as I had told you, that a change of transfer price to $4 would result in radios buying division buying in from the external supplier. No, we are not here buying from the external supplier or closing packaging division. These, and if you are getting the base only wrong, all advantages and disadvantages will go wrong, right? So be very clear what is given in the question. So that's all from the examining team comment side for the past paper March June 24 that we discussed thoroughly. I am sure that, I hope that, I'll not say I'm sure, but I think that the yesterday's paper what we discussed were two different topics. Today we discussed two different topics. Tomorrow again I'm going to take up two different topics for last past paper discussion that we will have at same time of 8 p.m. Guys, what I need is that I need you all to try this paper also again before we have class tomorrow, because that will inculcate confidence, understanding. If there is anything that you have to ask me, be free to ask me, I will answer that. One more point, the last paper that we discussed yesterday, I need you all to go through the examiner's report of that paper only, and then you will be able to understand, like here that we did discussion on the mistakes that students do in the exam. The next paper that we will take up tomorrow, I will be taking up the examiner team comments discussion over there as well, also while we will be solving the paper. So that's all for today. I request you all to please circulate it among your friends, families, whoever is appearing for the paper for tomorrow's session. That will be shared tomorrow, so that majorly, many of the students would benefit from it. I hope that the session was understandable. It is giving you the much needed section C understanding and confidence, so that your 40 marks is secured. Don't forget to comment on the video, post the session about your experience on both the yesterday's session, today's session. How did you find it helped you? So do put in the comments. Do follow the page, follow the channel, and keep yourself updated, because there's a lot more content which is going to be there. Okay, see you. Thanks a lot for joining, and see you tomorrow at the same time. I hope everybody is going to join for one last paper discussion also on two new another topics. Okay, see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. YouTube live. Bye bye. Good night. Take care.